Alright guys, I guess I had quite a bit of German stuff I went ahead and did up as a desert theme. You see I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fours. So with this one that comes with this kit I'll have 8 Panzer IVs. So with the long barrels. And I got the Panzer IVs, I got a platoon of those already with the short barrels. Right? And I have 2 Tigers painted in desert theme. Alright, got the magnets. I got the old Stuka Pack 3. You get 3 aircraft in one pack. It's not like that anymore. I may take one of those and make him a desert theme, paint him desert theme, but I don't think it really matters. I got that German green with the German gray. It kind of looks really cool. Actually, I probably just won't even touch them. And I got the spirals on the front nose cones. I got a few transport trucks painted desert theme already. Alright, I even got the sand on the sides of them. I have another transport truck I can use for troop transport. And here I'm going to make him the Rommel staff car. And it's freaking cool because I've already got a guy on there that he looks so much like Rommel. There's Rommel, guys. He's coming to town. So yeah, dudes, I've already got a nice little German force here. So yeah, I'll just use my 88s and my other stuff that's painted German gray, and that'll be fine. I've got my Fallschirmjägers have a camo pattern on their uniform, so they'll work great for my German desert army. Putting together my Crusader, my first Crusader, letting him dry a little bit, and then there's the first coat, guys, of sand. I got a bucket of sand, I got some white glue, I got a cheap brush, and I'll come back in tomorrow and I will use a spray bottle with watered down white glue, and I'll put some more sand on there. We'll do some more coats on the areas, but you see where I use just a sifter like I've used in my other video, and I sift it out, and then at the very end of the cone, when I sift out a lot, you notice I end up with some of this dark, more grittier material, and I kind of just take that little bit and I toss it out so it looks almost like a rock outcropping appearing out of the desert. You can see it's not it's a little mottled right now because the glue's still drying, but tomorrow we'll do another coat of sand. I'll probably pick up another bag of sand because that's the last of what I got, and I can always use it. So probably get me another bag of play sand. You want something that's kind of fine. You don't want a real coarse sand. It comes out of your sifter a lot better. But man, this is really going to look nice. I'm really excited about doing some desert battles. So I guess tomorrow or the next day I'll start cutting out some hills, and we will I'll sand those, and it's going to look freaking sweet. Escarpments, that's what I wanted to say earlier. I'm going to do some escarpments. I think I'm going to use, I got some stuff down here I can use for an escarpment, and they are already sanded. See how it looks like cliffs? Alright, so I can create like passes in the desert. Yeah, so these are going to look sweet. So I already got a bunch of crap down here. I got little hills and rock outcroppings and this and that. So yeah, I've also got, let me show you here real quick. I've also got some like mission style buildings that I had bought at a trade show. I've got some other buildings that are kind of, it's kind of like a Mediterranean style of roofs and stuff. These are going to work great for desert warfare. I've got a set of what you call it, fence. That'll go great for desert warfare. We could even do like an oases area where we can do a vineyard. So yeah, I'm psyched. I'm going to make some of these part of the oases. I'll get me some pine trees, some palm trees, right? And we'll use the ponds as oases, and it's going to be freaking sweet, guys. So look forward to that. We're going to be doing some desert battles. I may not do a play-by-play, I haven't decided, but I can at least show you my setups and show you my army lists that I'm working with on some of the new V4 stuff. So yeah, just thought I'd share that with you. That's what we're doing in the shop today. Okay guys, we're back. The desert board is complete as far as the grass or the sand being applied, and use the regular technique I did on my other video with the glue, and then I sprayed it down with watered down wet glue, and it makes a really nice firm hard surface. But I wanted to point out how I use my sand bucket here with a sifter, and at the very end of the sifter, when I would put out some sand, I would have little dark bits and heavier bits in my sifter, and that's what I made for my little rock outcroppings, as you can see here. And then I did an area here, it looks like drifting sand, and how I accomplished that is I just poured out some glue, white glue and water mix right along here in a big long stretch, and then sprinkled some more sand on top, and it made this almost like a drifting sand effect, which really worked really well. But you can see here, this is just play sand. You can get it at most hardware stores, and lots of Elmer's glue. I used probably, well, it was watered down, probably a quarter gallon of watered down Elmer's glue all told. And I did already have these Mediterranean buildings that I bought at a gaming show years ago, and then I went ahead and put what I currently have of my Afrika Korps. Got the long barrel Panzer IVs, short barrel Panzer IVs. There's Rommel in the back in his Jeep and his staff car, and of course a couple Tigers. Now these are my British tanks. I believe they are the Crusader, Crusader tank that came with my El Alamein kit. So they turned out really well. I'm happy with them. With more of a tannish scheme, which was used, and then the green. And then the only thing we're waiting for, and I should be here any day now, I've ordered from Amazon a package of 30 palm trees. I'm going to make some palm tree stands. And then I'm going to make some desert hills and desert dunes to put out on the board, and it'll be complete. So we already got our buildings. We got desert palms coming. Make a couple oases here with palm trees. And then we can start battling once my the rest of my British forces get here. So I have a battle foam bag coming for my British. I have Monty's Desert Rats, an entire kit coming, and I'm going to be going through the war store and ordering some more British stuff, some artillery, some British, probably just some regular British line infantry, so I at least have some infantry, and some the other thing I want to get from my British are British transports, and some types of British trucks. Now I got online this morning on the war store. I'm getting the best, come on, focus camera. I'm getting the better pricing. So yeah, that's the thing I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit, was on the Flames of War Facebook page, this back and forth over the price of the plastic kits and the resin kits. Now these are all metal and resin. Okay, I've had these for years. I probably had these for 6 years. My local hobby shop, I regularly bought. I don't know if he was just selling them at a discounted price, but I didn't know that was the only place that I found. This is where I stumbled onto the game, was at my local hobby shop. So he was selling boxes of 5 tanks. I got those 5 tanks for $50 plus tax. U.S. tax here locally for me is 7%. So when I see plastic kits still going for 45 plus tax, I'm not seeing that as a substantial savings. Now, if you can find resin kits out there, which they're starting to shrink, they just don't make, I don't even think they make these Panzer IVs, and they don't make these in resin and metal anymore. But if you found a kit, people are telling me they're for $62.50, and that's fine and dandy. And on the War Store, I can get 5, let's use Churchill tanks as an example. I can get those for $37.25. So that is a savings. It is a fairly substantial savings. So that's the route I'm going to go. I've looked into the other competitors' kits. I may pick up some of those over time, but they're about $22.50 on the War Store. Their availability is kind of sketchy as far as, didn't seem like they had a lot of them in stock. And then the other issue is you know, trying to just stick with Battlefront. I do like Battlefront as a company. I think overall they're a great company. But yeah, guys, look, my point with my posts, if you've read any of my posts on Facebook, that is, at 40 bucks, right, it's still, they're making it like bandits on these plastic kits, right? So if they could get them down to what the Plastic Soldier company sells them for, which would be like $22.50, you know, now you're competing. Now you're going to draw more people in, because that's pretty cheap for 5 tanks. But we'll take what we can get. I'll get the $37.25 kits. I've already got the $80 Monty's Desert Rats. Now, how I didn't think to look on the War Store, usually I usually go to them for paints and brushes and things, and they're a savings of 72. You can get the Monty's Desert Rats for 72 bucks. So I obviously am not going to buy a German kit. I have a shit ton of German stuff already. I'm probably going to use my Panzer Grenadiers as my Desert Africa Corps troops. And I've already got plenty of artillery. I've got everything the Germans could ever dream of. I've got my Stukas, Flight 3 Stukas. So now it's just building out the British forces. So I was really happy how these turned out, though. I'll take it. Now what I did, now this is the one that I did my base coat in black. I've always kind of liked doing that, guys, because that way the bottom is, it's an enamel base coat too, so it kind of helps the top layers hold up better with the play, so the paint doesn't come off as much. And also, like up in the recesses and things, I can just leave those black, and then just put in a bunch of different colors. And I did use my clear matte as a protective finish, which is also an enamel, so that's going to help protect the tank with gameplay. Now the other thing I did with my tanks too, guys, as I'm building them, if you haven't read any of my posts, you can see these don't have the little pins in them. I've actually been able to put the magnets in them, because I have a whole bag of those magnets that we used on the old resin kits. I have plenty of extras of those, so it's kind of a nice note to make that you can still use your magnets, which I really like the magnetic tops being on the turrets. That way when a tank is destroyed, we pull the turret off, it signals that the tank has been destroyed, and then I've got a boatload of these smoke markers we'll put on top of the tank. Those are easy to make. There's a lot of videos online to show you how to make them, but I highly recommend getting you a bag of pennies. That's what we use on the bottom, pennies. You see Abe Lincoln there, and yeah, you just crank out a whole bunch of them. But you'll find it. Sean, oh, I forget the guy's name, the terrain guy. He does a lot of Flames of War stuff. His name's Sean. He's a great guy. He's got a whole video on how to make them. That's where I learned to make them. So yeah, these turned out really well. I'm happy with them. I needed to come up with some kind of a scheme to differentiate them from the Germans. So this is a little bit a different shade of tan, and then I did the green camo pattern on the side. All right. So anyways, I'm plugging away over here. That's my Panzer IV I'm building. I still got my Panzer III to build. And to show you the progress here I'm making on the little grant. I definitely want to get more of these grants, but I think there's 3 or 4 or even 5 maybe even in the Monty's Desert Rat kit. So yeah, kind of a great little kit. Again, I went with a black underspray. I'm not really having any problems covering that because I'm actually starting in with a, let's see here, I'm starting in with a field drab, which is fairly dark. It's like a dark tan. And then I'm coming on top with the tan earth. And then I'm coming in with a sepia. Right, sepia shade on top of that. Then I'm dry brushing it with a really, really light dry brush on the corners and maybe the areas where the tank might get worn from the crew climbing in and out of the tank with the pale sand. And then I'm coming in, I'm still using up some of my old Citadels, a very light dry brush of bolt gun metal on like the hooks, areas where the crew climbs in and out of the vehicle where they've rubbed off the paint, down to the bare metal. I do a little bolt gun metal on the tracks and on the wheels. And that's kind of how I've been rolling with this paint scheme. Took me a little while. I experimented with some other colors just to let you know. I even went in with a flesh tone initially on my first tank. Way too orangey. See, I even tried this tan yellow, which is what they recommend. I thought after it dried it was just too bright and yellowy. And looking at online at pictures and like museum photos of British tanks, it was really more of a tannish color more than a yellowy sand color. Like, you can easily tell that those tanks are really well camouflaged on that table, and that is real sand. I mean, that's sand. That's very similar to the sand you're going to find in the Sahara Desert. It's a really fine sand. It does have some larger like rock outcroppings on it. So yeah, so I think with this on your tank, you're going to stand out like a freaking sore thumb. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's how I'm doing it. That's how I'm rolling. I've seen some other guys and their photos of their tanks that look amazing. So yeah, everyone's got to find their way, you know, and have their own technique. But that's what I'm up to today, guys. Watching my Beasts of War for the win. Alright guys, have a great one. See ya.